Hash under the blue umbrella. The first snowflakes of December began falling just as Maya finished locking up her small bookshop on Maple Street. She stood for a moment under the burgundy awning, watching the delicate crystals dance in the amber glow of the street lamps. The city had that particular hush that comes with the first snow, a muffling of sound that made even the busiest streets feel intimate and peaceful. "Mama, look," 8-year-old Sophia's voice rang out with pure delight as she pressed her face against the shop window from inside. "It's really snowing." Maya smiled, her breath forming small clouds in the crisp air. After 3 years of running between the lines, her cozy bookshop, she had grown to love these quiet December evenings. The shop was her sanctuary, filled with the warm scent of coffee, old paper, and the dreams that lived between book covers. But more than that, it was the place where she and Sophia had built their new life together. "Come on, little one," Maya called, pushing open the door. "Let's get you bundled up. Abuela is expecting us for dinner, and you know how she worries when we're late." Sophia emerged from behind the children's section where she'd been arranging picture books, a task she took very seriously. At 8, she had appointed herself Maya's assistant librarian, and took pride in keeping the children's corner perfectly organized. Her dark curls bounced as she skipped toward her mother, eyes bright with excitement about the snow. "Can we walk instead of taking the subway?" Sophia asked, already reaching for her red winter coat that hung on the small hook Maya had installed just for her. "Please, Mama, the snow is so pretty, and Abuela's house is only 12 blocks away." Maya hesitated, glancing out at the street. The snow was falling more steadily now, and the temperature had dropped significantly since afternoon. But Sophia's hopeful expression was hard to resist, and Maya remembered her own childhood excitement about the first snow of the season. "All right," she agreed, watching Sophia's face light up. "But we'll need the umbrella, and you have to promise to stay close to me." As they prepared to leave, Maya's mind wandered to the conversation she'd had with her mother earlier that day. Elena Restrepo had called, as she did every afternoon at 3 o'clock, to check on them and confirm dinner plans. "Mija," her mother had said in the gentle but persistent way she'd perfected over the years, "I've been thinking. Sophia needs stability, consistency. Maybe it's time you considered, well, maybe dating again." The suggestion had caught Maya off guard, even though it wasn't the first time her mother had broached the subject. Since Sophia's father had left when Sophia was just 3, disappearing one day with nothing but a note saying he wasn't ready for this kind of responsibility, Maya had focused entirely on building a life for herself and her daughter. The bookshop had been her dream, a way to create a world where Sophia could be surrounded by stories and imagination while Maya worked. "Mama," Maya had replied, watching Sophia organize books in the distance, "we're doing fine. Sophia and I, we have our routine, our life. We're happy." "I know you are, Mija. But happiness can grow. It doesn't have to stay the same size forever." Now, as Maya helped Sophia with her mittens, she pushed those thoughts aside. Tonight was about the first snow, about walking through the city with her daughter, about the simple pleasure of being together. They stepped out into the swirling snow, Maya opening the blue umbrella that had become their companion through many seasons. It wasn't particularly fancy, she'd bought it 3 years ago from a street vendor during a sudden spring downpour, but it had seen them through countless walks home from the shop, protected them during unexpected rain showers, and shielded them from summer sun during Sophia's school events. "Look, Mama," Sophia pointed down the street. "Everything looks like a fairy tale." She was right. The familiar cityscape had transformed into something magical. The snow clung to fire escapes and building ledges, softening the harsh angles of urban architecture. Store windows glowed warmly, their light spilling out onto the sidewalk and illuminating the falling snow like tiny stars. The usual rush of pedestrians had slowed to a more leisurely pace, people taking time to notice the beauty around them. They walked hand in hand down Maple Street, past the coffee shop where Maya bought her morning espresso, past the small grocery store where Mr. Chen always saved the best apples for Sophia, past the flower shop that would soon switch from autumn mums to winter greenery. Each familiar landmark looked different under its coating of snow, like old friends wearing new clothes. "Tell me about when you were little and it snowed," Sophia requested, a tradition that had developed during their walks. Sophia loved hearing stories about Maya's childhood in Colombia, even though Maya had to explain that snow wasn't something she'd experienced until moving to New York. "Well," Maya began, adjusting the umbrella to better cover them both, "when I was your age, I lived in a place where it never snowed. Instead of snow, we had seasons of rain and sunshine, and the most beautiful flowers you've ever seen. But didn't you want to see snow? I did, Maya admitted. I read about it in books, saw it in movies. I used to imagine what it would feel like to catch snowflakes on my tongue. Like this. Sophia stuck her tongue out, trying to catch flakes that drifted beyond the umbrella's protection. Exactly like that. Maya laughed, remembering her own first winter in New York, how magical and overwhelming it had been. She'd been 22, fresh out of college, working at a large bookstore chain while dreaming of opening her own shop someday. The city had seemed impossibly big and complex then, but over the years it had become home in a way she'd never expected. They paused at the corner of Maple and 3rd, waiting for the light to change. The intersection was busier here, with people emerging from the subway station, shaking snow off their coats and adjusting scarves. Maya noticed a couple across the street, the man helping the woman navigate a particularly slushy patch of sidewalk, both of them laughing as they nearly slipped together. "Mama," Sophia said quietly, following Maya's gaze, "do you ever get lonely?" The question caught Maya by surprise. Sophia was mature for her age, often asking questions that revealed a depth of perception that could be both wonderful and heartbreaking. Maya looked down at her daughter, considering how to answer honestly without burdening her with adult complexities. "Sometimes," Maya said finally. "But not when I'm with you. And not when I'm in the bookshop, surrounded by all those stories." "Loneliness is different from being alone, Sophia. Being alone with you, or with a good book, doesn't feel lonely to me." Sophia nodded thoughtfully, then squeezed Maya's hand tighter. "I'm glad we're together." "Me too, little one." The light changed, and they continued their journey. As they walked, Maya found herself thinking about the conversation with her mother again. Was she being selfish, keeping their world so small and contained? Sophia seemed happy, but maybe she was missing something by not having a father figure, or by not seeing Maya in a romantic relationship. These thoughts were interrupted when they passed Café Luna *, a small restaurant that had opened 6 months ago. Through the steamed-up windows, Maya could see couples sharing intimate dinners, families laughing over plates of food, groups of friends celebrating something. The warm light and scene of connection made her pause. "Can we go there sometime?" Sophia asked, noticing Maya's attention. "It looks cozy." "Sure," Maya replied, though they rarely ate out. Their budget was tight, and Maya preferred cooking at home where she could control what Sophia ate and spend quality time together without distractions. As they continued walking, Sophia chattered about her school day, her teacher Mrs. Rodriguez, and the book report she was working on. She'd chosen Charlotte's Web, and was particularly fascinated by the friendship between Wilbur and Charlotte. "Do you think Charlotte was lonely, living in the barn?" Sophia asked. "I think Charlotte understood that friendship can happen in unexpected places," Maya answered. "Sometimes the most important connections aren't the ones we expect." They were approaching the neighborhood where Maya's mother lived, a slightly more upscale area with tree-lined streets and brownstone buildings. This was where Maya had grown up after her family immigrated when she was 10. Her mother still lived in the same apartment, the one where Maya had spent her teenage years dreaming about books and planning her future. "There's Abuela's building," Sophia pointed excitedly down the street. Elena Restrepo lived on the 2nd floor of a pre-war building with high ceilings and original hardwood floors. She'd raised Maya there as a single mother herself, after Maya's father had died in a car accident when Maya was 12. Perhaps that was why Elena was so concerned about Maya doing the same. She knew how challenging it could be to raise a child alone, even when you were determined to make it work. As they climbed the familiar stairs, Maya could already smell her mother's cooking, probably sancocho, Sophia's favorite. Elena always cooked as if she were feeding a family of 10, no matter how many people were actually coming for dinner. "Ms. Amores." Elena opened the door before they could knock, enveloping both Maya and Sophia in warm hugs. Come in, come in. You're covered in snow." Elena Restrepo was a small woman with silver-streaked hair always pulled back in a neat bun, and eyes that missed nothing. At 63, she was still energetic and opinionated, working part-time as a seamstress while volunteering at the local community center. Her apartment was filled with plants, family photos, and the smell of home-cooked food. "Abuela, it's really snowing outside," Sophia announced, as if this were breaking news. "I can see that, mi nieta. Now take off those wet boots and come warm up. I made sancocho, and there's flan for dessert." As they settled into the familiar routine of hanging up coats and washing hands, Maya felt the comfort of being in her childhood home. Despite her mother's occasional meddling, this apartment represented safety and unconditional love. During dinner, Sophia regaled her grandmother with detailed accounts of her day, while Elena listened with the patience and attention that only grandmothers seem to possess. Maya found herself relaxing, enjoying the warmth and the sound of her daughter's laughter. Maya, Elena said during a pause in Sophia's storytelling, Mrs. Garcia from downstairs mentioned that her nephew is